Soccer is the game the world knows and loves. And here in Brazil, there's an indoor variant of the beautiful game that also enjoys huge popularity. It's been played here for close to a century, and the number of participants is ever growing. They call it button football.
I started to play this game with my dad. It's a Brazilian tradition passed down from father to son. Every father gets a button table for his son, and the teams are also handed down through the generations.
Button football is a Brazilian sport invented in Brazil to mimic the emotions of football. Many people played it when they were kids. There were no video games at the time, so we made our own buttons. We picked our team, and we projected all our childhood football emotions into the game.
In the simplest form of button football, players must propel a ball into their opponent's goal using discs or buttons, each of which represents a player. The game has evolved over time, and such is the size of the country, different rules have emerged in different parts of Brazil.
There are many different rules. Here in Rio, for example, people like playing with dice. Others don't like that approach. They'll tell you that you can't play with a square ball and so on. And in other places across Brazil, people do play the game with a small ball. There are many different methods.
But however you approach it, there's a common theme: affection for a more traditional game that allows a very personal identification with each button.
The counters are not just inanimate objects. Kids have a magical opportunity to take a button and invest each one with a personality. Each button has a way of playing. Each button has a touch. Each button knows how to shoot in its own way. There are days when a button is in good form. There are days when a button is bad. There are days when he plays well. There are days when he's confident, and there are days when he doesn't get anything right.
Whether their buttons are having good days or bad, an evening's button football is still a social event for Rodrigo, Jorge and their friends. Sure, everyone likes to win, but these home tournaments aren't as serious as the games they used to play.
I used to like playing in competitions because it's just like being a real player. Playing in an official tournament is very different to playing in an unofficial one. There are memorable games with penalty shootouts, and you might have a close win. Sometimes you even create a rivalry with other players. There are some really good players, so the level of those events can be a bit higher. I only play for fun nowadays. I no longer have the availability all the time. It's difficult to juggle family and work, let alone find the time to play button football.
For others, there's still a serious side to the game, with leagues running up and down the country. Teams are often affiliated to professional clubs, and training sessions like these are taken very seriously. So what of the button footballer's interest in the outdoor game?
The majority of people that play button football are also passionate about the traditional game. We transfer our love for the game to the tabletop, and all of us here are fans of Flamengo. We share our passion for the club with a passion for this sport.
And it's a sport or a game that can be just as frustrating as football itself.
Sometimes the best doesn't win, just like in football. There are mishaps because the ball hits the post or someone scores from long range. So there are many similarities with football. It reproduces all the emotions of the sport.
During the recent FIFA World Cup, button football also staged their World Championship in Brazil.
The World Cup brings it all home to Brazilians. It's always done that. But during World Cup time, I think everything in Brazil that's linked to football just blossoms.
And in the final of the Button Football World Cup, Germany proved that they're the masters of all versions of the game, beating England by 5-2 goals.